Taurus, this is your tarot reading for March. As you'll be aware, I've been telling you that your life is changing. March appears to be a fundamental month for most. Doesn't mean to say that elements of your old life won't be in this reading, but I can see change here. What characterises the entire reading is the Five of Wands. This is a card of conflict, but it's probably a conflict that could be avoided if you only talk things through with others. Bottom right, recent past, card of enjoying yourself, joy, a card of living life to the full. Your current energy is that of the Lovers. Now normally I'd say how wonderful, but knowing you, Taurus, I'm a little concerned at that card cropping up. We'll see. In the future we have the card of the energy of charity. Is this charity coming to you, or you being charitable? I suspect it's you being charitable, and I suspect it's about you being charitable, maybe not simply monetarily, but in your thoughts about others. The energy that leads to the outcome is the Magician. Now it could be about divine inspiration, but I suspect, knowing you, you are manifesting. What are you manifesting? Is it love again? I'm not sure. The energy that would change things is you going off on a new journey with a childlike innocence. And I would encourage you to do that. So I think, I'm only talking about energies impacting on you. You have free will. And if you could really go with this energy, I think things will turn out better for you. The outcome is the Knight of Wands. He's brave, he's bold, but he rushes into things. And that certainly has characterised you in the past, hasn't it, Taurus? Looks interesting, Taurus. I can see elements of the old you in it, but I can also see that maybe you are changing somewhat. So let's unpack it. The overall energy that runs throughout this entire reading is one of conflict. So it's never a good thing, is it? Conflict. And let's face it, you've been through many conflicts in my past readings for you. But this conflict does look like one that's quite easily resolvable. The sort of conflict that if you talk things through, maybe it could be resolved. It's as though maybe even you're trying to achieve the same things, but just have different ways of going about it. Is this conflict over love? I hope it's not, but I've got a feeling it could be. Certainly this energy runs through all the other energies, and I need to recognise that as I'm talking about the other energies. The energy from the past was an energy of enjoying yourself, an energy of joy, a wonderful, wonderful energy. But I have to say, having sort of recalling my readings for you over the past 2 years or so, you have gone from joy and elation to despair quite frequently. I hope that you still have this joy in your heart. I really do, despite there being conflict. And there's no harm in enjoying yourself. I'm certainly not saying that. But I'm just a bit dubious, let's put it that way. And your current energy is that of the Lovers. Is this a new love? It could be. Is it a renewed love? Or is it you feeling much more loving to somebody that's been around a while? It could be about partnership, but knowing you, I'm sure it's about love, Taurus. And it feels divine, it feels wonderful. But a bit like that card of enjoying yourself and joy, you've been there many times before, haven't you? And things have gone wrong. So I do hope this is stable. I do hope it's good. But as always, I have my doubts. Only because of my past readings for you, Taurus. No other reason. I'm sorry to be painting you with that brush. But, well, you can't do much better, really, you know, than a card of joy and a card of love. But, of course, everything is tinged by this sort of arguments energy as well. Future energy is that of charity. I mean, it could be you receiving charity, but I think it's more likely you giving charity. And I've spotted in the past that you are a generous soul. You are generous. You know, I might criticise you for many things, Taurus, but generosity isn't one. You are a generous person. Now, March, or just recently, it's not just March, but many signs when this has cropped up, it's been about being more charitable in your views of others. I'm not certain that's what it's telling us about you. I think this might be action charity, and that you are being generous towards others. I think part of your generosity is an immense sense of guilt, comes from an immense sense of guilt. And whilst that's not a good reason for charity, I think this charitable energy is a very positive energy. And the energy that leads to the outcome is the Magician card. I mean, it could be about divine knowledge, intuition, but I think the most likely is that you're manifesting. Are you manifesting love? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Are you manifesting bestial conquests, which is certainly the old you, isn't it? And you might not even be aware that you're manifesting. You might just be thinking of somebody in that sense. But that is sending a message out to the world, and probably even being received by the person you're thinking of. So the very thought can get you into that situation. And forgive me for saying, but that's been the source of your problems in the past. So I am concerned about this. Now, tarot reading is only about understanding the energies that will impact on your psychology. Certainly isn't fortune telling. But it can seem like fortune telling because of, you know, these are the things that will impact on your psychology. And just as I said with manifesting, the mere act of thinking of it can create those circumstances. So it can feel like fortune telling. But you have free will. You can go with some energies and not others. And this Fool card is telling me that very strongly. That you can change. You can go off on a new journey. Go off, do things differently to how you have in the past. And you don't need an exact plan. You just need to be willing to change. And have a sort of wide-eyed innocence about it, a childlike innocence about accepting this change. So I have been saying that this year there is great hope for you, that you can change, that your life can be better. But are you going to accept this change? Now, if you remember, I said the magician energy, I thought you were manifesting something, probably love, probably more SUL exploits. And I'm pretty certain that that's what you're manifesting, and it leads to the Knight of Wands. Now the Knight is brave, he's bold, he's fast. So admirable qualities. But he also rushes into things. So if you are manifesting more SUL exploits, then if you're not careful, you're going to rush into them and get yourself right back into the situations that have characterised you, certainly for as long as I've been doing readings for you, Taurus. So I've got to say I am concerned. And what I want to do is I want to get some clarification. Because if you remember, the overall thing is one of conflict. Well, this will lead to conflict, won't it? So let's see what this conflict is all about. So yeah, let's find out what this conflict is all about. And the first card we have is the Ace of Pentacles. New money. Conflict over money. It's interesting because we've got that card of that energy of charity in the future. Very interesting. New money. The next card is that of the Devil, unhealthy attachments. Well, if the past is anything to go by, we know what your unhealthy attachment is. And the final card is one of taking a rest. Is that taking a rest from a relationship? I wonder. Remember, we're clarifying this conflict or disagreement. And so the first card is the Ace of Pentacles, which I'd associate with new money or new opportunities, new material opportunities. Of course, there's an interesting aside on this. You pull away from this, the rendering of this card, and it looks like a naked female body below it, doesn't it? And I think that's what we're talking about here. I mean, you might be female. Well, sorry. You might be a heterosexual female, and, you know, these are just energies, so we're not talking necessarily a naked female, but I think this is what's going on here. Because the other way that we could see this is that it's about new beginnings, and it can also be about manifesting. So I think this conflict comes from the fact that you've been manifesting, and I think you've been manifesting, well, you know, this naked female, if you like. And as I say, you know, you might have been manifesting a naked male, but whatever, you know. Yeah, this is what you've been doing. You see, what I think you're doing is, I think you're trying to avoid situations like this, but you don't realise that you have to change what you think about, not only what you do. And the Devil crops up, unhealthy attachments. Yes, we know what your unhealthy attachment is. I'm certain this is indicative of a bigger psychological problem. Your body count, as it were, or your desire to keep increasing your body count. And I'm not taking a moralistic standpoint on this, because I know the problems it's caused you in the past. But your desire to increase your body count, I think, underlies a deeper psychological issue. Well, meditation would be the way to try and resolve it, to try and find out what these issues are. I think meditation would help you anyway, because of, as I say, I think this arises out of your thoughts. I don't think you're even consciously manifesting, it's just your thoughts. So to calm down those thoughts, meditation really will help. Do you know, I think you do desire this change. You do desire it. Maybe all this forces you to feel like you need a rest. But there might be another way of seeing this, and that is that maybe you're wanting a rest from your relationship. And I think maybe it's you have a consumerist view over love and relationships. This has been encouraged, advertising, what have you. We're made to desire things, and I'm talking about goods and services now, that we don't really want. That's the function of advertising, So we're made to desire these things, and then we go out and we buy them, and we're absolutely elated, we get an adrenaline rush. But once we've got them, the joy goes very quickly. And I think you're like that with lovers, with relationships. And so at the root of the problem is your materialistic view about love, being about ownership and control. And that's what you need to change. I know it's going to be difficult for you. I know. Well, I think we can summarise now, Taurus. Taurus, I've been doing your readings for over 2 years now, and the key feature has been you going from elation to despair, going into relationships and then probably cheating and messing them up. And at the root of the problem is your view of love being a sort of materialistic view, a love of possession and control. And once you've possessed somebody, you grow tired of them and you look for someone else. And you are going to change this year, and you want to change, but in March you're going to be tested yet again. You're entering this March full of joy, probably with a new love, and feeling absolutely wonderful. But you start thinking about other people, other potential lovers. And the mere act of thinking of it probably will lead to them crossing your path in that way. Because you're sending out messages to the world, including them. And they'll pick up on it. And the opportunity will arise for you to cheat once more. And chances are you will rush into it. And if you do rush into it, then, we're just repeating the cycles. However, in future, maybe this is how you've always been. I think you'll be very generous towards the person you've wronged because you feel guilty. You feel guilty about what you've done. And that is your old pattern, isn't it? That's how you've always been. There will be conflict, because of what you've done. But, at the root of the problem is this is an addiction. This is an addiction. It's an addiction to consuming people and your very attitudes towards others needs to change. Now, one way you can do this is, and I know you're already somewhat committed to this, you know, you don't want to do this anymore, I do know that, but is to go off on a completely new journey, to dispense with how you've been in the past and just enter love with a real wide-eyed innocence without expecting anything from it or demanding anything from it. Yeah. Bless you, Taurus, because I know you want to change, and change is coming.